Happy 365 Pro Wrestling Nation. It's Manda Cat here, and today we have another great podcast. We have Old School Eddington James. How are you today? Thank you for being on.
I'm fantastic. It is beautiful up here in Elmvale, Ontario, 20 minutes north of Barrie. Lots of snow. Hate it. Want it to go away. Don't know what the hell I moved up to Northern Ontario for. I'm from Toronto originally. But yeah, I can afford a house.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, then there you go. Plus, you know, sometimes it's nice to be up north away from certain people. So
there you go. There you go. It's true. It is true. It's all true.
Exactly. So, for some of the people that don't know the Old School Eddington James story, could you let the 365 Pro Wrestling Nation know how you got started into the wrestling world and what made you want to become a ref?
Okay. Well, let me tell you, you've never heard this before, Amanda. Yeah, I was no one. I really don't think I've ever met a referee who's honest with me who actually wants to be a referee. We all wanted to be wrestlers, but pre-internet, I didn't know how to become a wrestler. I was enjoying life, and in my 8 years that you would do it, I was living in Toronto, but we didn't really know that there was any wrestling schools around. I know Ron Hutchison, my mentor, who trained Christian Edge, Trish Stratus, that group. He found an ad in the Toronto Sun, but in those days there was no coverage of wrestling. You get a little square of results from Maple Leaf Gardens on Monday night morning, and that's it. There was no coverage of wrestling whatsoever. There was no internet, so we had no real up-to-date information. The magazines that you pick up at the drugstore, those were 6 months old at the time. And so it was a different time. So I just didn't know how to become a wrestler. I don't think I would have lasted the lifestyle. These guys, the respect I have for wrestlers is ultimate there, because I go down to Cauliflower Alley in Vegas every year to see the old WWE guys and the enhancement workers and the territory guys who went around that are my age or even older, some of them younger. And I listen to their stories and I go, I don't think I would have lasted very long. But so I mean, I don't know if I wanted to be a referee or not, but I wanted to be part of the business. So at 45 years old, I called up my old buddy Ron, and Ron and I used to line up at Maple Leaf Gardens. That's how I knew him. And there was a bunch of us there, just like now, the fans at Kitchener, you get to, in Guelph, you sort of get to know each other and you talk in line and talk there, you get there. It's the same kind of thing. There was a group of us, and we were the two quiet guys. We were the quietest guys there. And but we became friendly, and he would have been about 18 and I would have been in my 20s. And so I knew he became a wrestler, and but I was a little too old by that. I just got married and had commitments. I'd moved to Barrie by that time, and became an elementary school teacher. So the teaching became my priority. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah. Yes. So you've been in the wrestling world, you said, for like 20 something years.
20 years. It'll be 21 years now. Yeah.
21 years. And how many matches have you had?
2,221, and I know that because I was talking to Easy E last week, and his was my last match I've reffed. My last match on February 29th last year was a 365 debut match for me, and unfortunately that was my first and last match for 365, and hopefully get that needle in my arm, and I'll ref again.
Yes.
I want the vaccination. Sorry, guys.
Well, they're kind of put it in my arm. They're saying that like you won't be able to do much with not having the vaccine, so it's a good thing to get it, I guess. And you do a lot of Zumba, right?
I do. I dance my little heart out. I'm just starting to
I love Zumba, so I watch you.
Please, I mean, one of the reasons I do a lot of my social media, young guys don't get social media. I know that sounds stupid, but probably why Bia and I are such friends, because we both, we're we're social media whores, basically. She's off now a lot. I don't think she does as much as she used to, but I do it to promote, hey, look, I'm 66 years old. I've done more in the last 20 years than I did in the first 40. And never stop. I've been lucky enough to keep online with the Zoom. I did one from the Philippines last week live, which was really cool. One of my old teachers moved back there, so that was really fun. Another one's a girlfriend of a wrestler, and she's doing it. She works for Humber College, so she does it. So I do it live with her on Fridays. And then otherwise, I just find old, I just go on YouTube and find Zumba and do it in my basement, just like everybody else. So staying fit, dancing, single, double.
Yeah. Well, I love doing Zumba, so it's a lot of fun.
It is.
Got to be in shape, right?
Well, it gets you there. I mean, it does. I mean, last night I did an hour by myself in this room. And you do an hour, I don't care what you're doing. If you're running, walking, I mean, there's my live one right here in Barrie area. We have a song called Squats. I don't like when they do, because the words of the song go squats, 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 squat. That's the only words. And we do squats. It's not that one I don't care for, but it does. It keeps you fit.
Yes.
You're moving for an hour. Hey, who's that handsome devil? That's from last week.
There you go. That's you.
But yeah, it keeps me fit. And I remember it's just for refereeing, it's kind of a special kind of. We need that short energy. We you have to go in there like. Wrestlers kill themselves for 7 minutes, 8 minutes sometimes, and I'm in there for 6 matches. So do I work at the same level? No, but I am consistently in there and getting up, going down, going up, going down, going up. It takes a lot out of you, and I'm working with 18-year-olds and 17-year-olds, and I'm trying to stay up with them. And I've got it. If they go down for a move, they want me down there to count that 1, 2, 3. As fast as I can, right? Because if they've got them held, it's hard to hold somebody. Try it. To hold somebody down for a 3 count, even an amateur wrestler, it's only a 2 count. So professional wrestling, to keep somebody down for a 3 count is really hard to do. So they want me down there and start counting as fast as I can. And I try my best. I know I'm not as fast as some of those young guys, but hopefully I counteract that with experience and, brain power.
Well, I think you do an awesome job, so don't worry about that.
You're awesome. You're the best announcer.
Yes, I do all the announcing for 365. That's right.
Yes, put yourself over. Give yourself props. That's a hard job. When I've slowed down a little bit, I keep thinking, well, what could I do to stay in the business? Manage or announce or something, and then I go, I don't know. That's a hard job to get it all right and make sure you do it before the music and coordinate and all that. I don't know. So
it's a lot of coordination. Thank you. Thank you for that. I appreciate that. Well, it's nerve-wracking. You gotta kind of work with the fans just as much as like the wrestlers kind of do in the ring. They work with the fans and stuff.
Well, a lot of times you set the tone. I do. I'm very much. I get a lot of aggravation from my friends at Cauliflower Alley in Vegas because they see that I'm a little bit more flashy, and you're not supposed to as a referee. But as I said, it's an independent wrestler. I have no illusions of becoming WWE ref or any big name promotion. Independent wrestling is different, and the announcer has a big job to get the crowd into the matches right away and to introduce us. This is strategic. I just noticed because I'm showing so I don't show my bald head. Right. Yeah. So sometimes as a referee, I can do the same thing. If I'm doing one of my favorite shows was Tottenham. We used to do this outdoor show for 365 PWA, and as a referee, you can get the fans going a little bit. You make a little noise when you get out there, and we have to work with the announcer. So hopefully we can pump the crowd up a little bit. And then when the wrestlers get in there, let's go, let's get this show going. So a lot of times I'm the first person. You and I are the first people that the people see, and if it's a crowd that's walking by and not really a wrestling crowd, we've got to get them involved really quickly. So your job is very important.
Yeah, yeah. We both got to get them involved, but you know, I don't get as taunted as much as you do being a ref.
Well,
I know
I
you
have
get
my
taunted a
share.
lot.
Yeah, I got to admit, I mean, the fans, you know what? For 45 years, I was a fan. And I'm just as guilty as anybody of getting on the referee. And I'm a lot more sympathetic now. And you won't hear me yelling at the referee as much, but I used to. And I'm pretty empathetic with the fans. I mean, sometimes I legitimately can't see what's going on. And when you have somebody like that thorn in my side, Lenny Lilac, you know, when he was a manager, he was very sneaky. And you know, he would. I told him one time when he was on the side of good for that little while, that I said I almost passed out a couple of times because I would yell so loud at him. He just gets under my skin, and no other manager or wrestler gets under my skin like he does. And I would yell so much that I almost pass out. And I was like,
Oh my goodness.
And that's honest to God, that's true. And he just drives me nuts. So yeah.
Yeah. Have you ever faced Lenny Lilac in a match before?
Believe it or not, I know this is shocking to people, but if you're not a longtime TWA fan, and I think everybody is, but maybe you forget that I was in a 5-man tag team against Lenny Lilac after he had cut me open in a match because he had lost at the end, and I went to the president, to Eddie, and a few people, Mr. Eddie Osborne, and I said to him, I said, don't suspend him. I want him. I want to get a piece of him. I said, I'm not, you know, these guys wrestle, you know, so much. I don't. So I haven't taken the bumps that they have. My body's in pretty good shape still. And
your Zumba?
Yeah, I do my Zumba. And I said, I haven't had the bumps that they have. So I said, maybe with one match, I might be able to hold my own. I'm very proud of myself. I did very well. However, I didn't win, and I never got my hands on Lenny too much. He actually ended up kicking me in the face and then splashing me. So I don't know too many people who get up after that. So I still feel it every so often when it rains. But yeah, so I mean, he's still on my side, but I got to give him his due. He was a much better wrestler in the ring than I thought he was. And yeah, so I mean, I think those days are probably in the past, but it's wrestling. Never say never.
Exactly. Never say never.
So we'll see what happens. But yeah,
you'll get them one day. You'll get them one day.
Somehow I'll get them. Yeah.
So if you were to say have a traditional 5-on-5 Survivor Series style match, who would you choose to be on your team, like for the 5-on-5?
Excellent question. I'd have to think about it for a second. I really, really loved the team I had. It was Sid Summers, Mike Hart, good friend of mine, Mike Hart. Oh my gosh, Val Venus's brother. I can't think of his name. Isn't that awful? I feel so embarrassed. And Sid Summers. It was a great team. And yeah, I know. And great. It was a great match. They were a great team. And they helped me out so much. I can't. But you're asking me if it was an ultimate match. You know, who could I pick? Definitely my two favorite guys. I mean, I love to work with Eddie Osborne, but he's just, I don't like his tactics, and I don't think it would fit my style. So I need a couple of veterans on my team, and that would be Ruffy and Reggie. Those two are just great guys, and I trust them totally. Of the younger guys, Easy E is one of my favorite guys. I think he's the most underrated wrestler in Ontario. He can go with anybody from, you know, ROH's Joe Hendry just to, you know, to Impact's Josh Alexander. I've seen some great matches. Vic Venus was the gentleman's name. It just came to me all of a sudden magically. As well, fill in that probably would be Joey Allen because of the big strength that he would add to that team. However, Elian Habanero, he has that something. That's something that you can't bottle it. He's Cuba. He's got the thing, but he's got the fans, and he's got something. He just wins.
He does.
He's so exciting to watch, and love that guy.
Because he's so into it, right?
So
it's just you can see the love for the sport when he's in that ring, and it's just wow.
Fans. He loves the fans. He loves having fun. So, you know, he's just a great guy. Yeah.
Okay. So okay.
We would be
those are some good picks. I like those picks. It's a good team. I think you could do some damage.
I could. Oh my goodness. Put that in the ring. Oh, I don't like getting, oh, you don't mess with old school,
Oh,
baby. You don't mess with old school.
no, you don't. That was Josh Alexander. So that was pretty, he's a big guy. You took him out. That good for you.
Black in that match as well as Kobe Durst, some, superstars. So
Yeah.
I apologized to him after the match. I felt really bad. It was just one of those things that he threw me, and you just automatically, you've watched TV, you've watched wrestling, I've watched it for 60 years. Just automatically I did it. And I felt so bad afterwards. I shouldn't interfere in the matches, but don't put your hands on the ref.
Yes.
That's a real, I don't care what sport it is, hockey, football, don't touch the ref. That's just, you're asking for it then, and all bets are off. So yeah.
Yeah.
I hit around 185 pounds, so I mean, I can take care of myself.
Yes. Yes.
Not
Have you ever gotten hurt?
Josh would kill me. Pardon me.
Have you ever gotten hurt in the ring before?
Let me think about that. Yes, I have. But my biggest injury, of course, was the stroke to my eye that I got at another promotion, and my camera just fell. So that was bad, obviously, because I still suffer with that. I have to get an injection in my eye. Now it's every 2 months, but up for the last 2 years, it's been every month. And it feels like a needle in the eye. It's painful. And the wrestler felt really bad. And the other time was when Lenny cut me open, which I wasn't very impressed with. And he was just,
oh my God.
It was, I'm just going to fix my camera a little bit here. It's a brand new camera.
That's okay.
Kind of a little funny there. Oh no, you can see my bald head now. So he, Lenny got angry and he hit me a few times and I ended up starting to bleeding. And then he pounded on the cut, so it made it worse. And then after that, that's what led to the match that they included me in. And they thought that, I could get some revenge on this awful human being. So, oh my goodness, look at that handsome guy. That's my old house. That's really cool.
That's cool. Is that the promo that you did before the event?
I would have to think so. It would have been around that time, and always promoting PWA and 365. That's my home promotion. In fact, I've done a quarter of my matches with them. So I've done around 500 matches with them. So considering I've worked with 12 to 15 promotions, PWA is obviously special to me.
Yes. Yes. PWA is really, it's a great company to work for. Promotion. Sorry.
Well, it is. It's all over Ontario, and for the people, obviously Kitchener and Guelph are the mainstays. My first match, I think I've mentioned to you, is Carrot Fest up in Bradford, which was called PWA North, and Reggie and Ruffy and some of the guys sort of focused up there, and we've done that since 2005. I think I've been on the cards, maybe 2006, I think it was. So I've been almost every one. And then we also did places like Tottenham and Bradford and Hull Center and Nolan Landing. There's a picture of Carrot Fest right there offering Jeff the carrot. That's Turbo Nick Tyson, who doesn't get up to our way too often, but he's an old friend. I used to go to school with him and his brother up in Willowdale, Ontario, Canada, suburb of Toronto. So I won't say when or how long ago. He is 10 years younger than me, and he still wrestles, just for Carrot Fest because he loves it so much. But so I've totally lost track of what you're talking about. That clip was so cool. I was expecting that.
That's okay. That's okay. I was enjoying the stories that you were telling. So, do you have any favorite moments for 365 or PWA?
Well, I think the stars is always great. I mean, you love to ref the big guys. I think Joe Hendry was the last one. He's now with ROH and has a lot of respect. Luke Bushwhacker. We did a tour across Ontario with him. Gangrel, Brutus Beefcake. I've even reffed the Young Bucks under a PWA banner, and Kendrick in London, WWE World Champions. So Rhino and Dreamer were a team. Steve Carino, who ended up becoming a friend of mine, where we actually still talk once in a while. And so I met a lot of people through PWA, and the local wrestlers are great and obviously put on matches second to none, but it's always a little bit special to work with the big stars. So
yes. I've had the chance to also work with some great talents when doing the announcing and stuff. So that's always been, it's such a great experience to work with the people that, they have the experience of working on TV and stuff, so they can give you some tips and it's good to talk to them.
We're all still fans too, and
Exactly.
you know what? Tempers flare. If anybody's been in a hockey dressing room or a football dressing room, you know that tempers flare because you want to win.
Yeah.
So wrestlers have given me a hard time, but the big stars, and I've worked with a lot of them over the years, not just for PWA. Most of them, and I'm saying like 90%, maybe 95%, are absolutely wonderful to work with, and they're just nice guys. Gangrel, for instance, I've worked with him 3 or 4 times. He's just a super guy, very patient with the young workers, and very hard worker. A lot of you don't appreciate how good these workers are sometimes. I remember this. I'm going to tell a story that's not PWA.
Okay, that's okay.
I worked with I don't know how old you are, Maddie. You're like 12 to me. But if you remember Tatanka, and I worked with Tatanka once up in Northern Ontario for a promotion, and the person that was wrestling him and me were sort of rolling our eyes. We're going, "No, this guy's kind of over the hill." And he put on a 20-minute clinic. He was so amazing.
Wow.
And we were both of us looked at each other, and when this is a big name in Ontario, I won't say his name, but we both went, "That was amazing. We did not expect that from him." Another guy was a PWA, was Tommy Dreamer, in that he came in one time for a Carrot Fest, and he had a fever, ridiculous fever. To the point where he walked into the dressing room, lay on the bench, and this is an old hockey arena, so he just lay on the hockey bench there, slept until his match, and his match was against the boss, Eddie Osborne, and he went out and did a 3-4 star match, came back in, and lay on the thing and fell asleep again. Like, what a professional. Like, he just knew it's time to go, let's go. And he just an amazing. So you have respect for these guys, and they've done it all. They've made hundreds of thousands of dollars, and now they're working independent wrestling. And believe it or not, they're not making hundreds of thousands of dollars, and they're working just as hard. So it just shows you. I just get so much respect for these guys. So
yeah, and also them being in like the indie scene, they get to do their own gimmicks and stuff. They have more freedom and everything. Even though they are not making that money, they get to do what they kind of want to do, sort of.
Oh, absolutely. There's advantages to both. I mean, there really is. I mean, I wouldn't work as a referee. I bring a little, fun to the ring. And other than AEW, who have recognized that and have decided to let their referees have some personality, Aubry Edwards is the most famous, I guess, the woman wrestler, and I talked to her indirectly online, but
that's cool.
Yeah, she mutual friends, but a long story. Just saying that she has a little bit of fun there, and what's wrong with that? And then they brought in Shikara as a referee, whose name is totally escaping me, and I love him, and an old school referee who's Rick Knox, and they've got a ROH referee. So they all have different personalities, where in WWE, there's an actual rule. You may not mention the referee's name. So they have no personalities, and it's sad because you've got, the Ontario indie wrestler Hornet is one of the best referees in WWE, and it would be nice to hear about that. They actually, when he was in Barrie, they actually announced him as Hornet, and they made a little joke, and he got the biggest pop of the whole crowd because this is an NXT taping, and the wrestlers were all, "What? Who is this Hornet guy?" And we're going, "No, he's one of ours," and so it's too bad. And I'm not saying, I do agree that referees shouldn't be the show and shouldn't take away from the wrestlers. And if I do, I apologize. It's happened before. I know it has on PWA shows as well. But that's not my job. And I try to stay in the background, and I try to only have some fun if somebody includes me. And so that's that.
But also being ref, you're also in control of the match too, and we got to have some kind of a reaction from you to get, to understand.
It's a team. I mean, from the announcer to the manager to the person selling it here in Ontario, Irene, who runs PWA. Sorry, Eddie, she's the boss here because she does it all, and it's your first experience. You walk in and you meet Irene, and she is, PWA to me.
She's such a great lady. She's very sweet, very sweet.
and we're all a team. That's the way I look at it. So I think if wrestlers don't think that way, if they think they're the only two people in the match, sorry, but you know, we're all working together and we're all trying to put on a good show. That's what it's all about. And it's competitive. I understand that, but you know, if you're going to include me in a little, you know, something funny, I'll do it. But otherwise, no, I don't want to be part of it. And so there you go. Oh, there's my girl. Oh, well. Not impressed with that, but
that's well, so if you could ref anyone, past or present, who would it be?
In the world? Not even, don't have to think about it for 4 seconds. Dusty Rhodes. Dusty Rhodes was always my favorite wrestler of all time. He didn't get his due until after he passed away, as far as I'm concerned. People liked him and stuff, but I don't think they appreciated what he did. And you look back on the tapes and talk about an entertainer. You know, he entertained the crowd. He was silly. He did the flip-flop and fly thing, and it was cool. But he was doing hour draws with Ric Flair. He never had a wrestler's physique, but you know, and his son Dustin inherited the bad body, and he's also one of the top wrestlers as far as I'm concerned. And Cody got the great body, but and he's doing his own thing. But Dusty Rhodes, by far, I was scheduled to meet him at Cauliflower Alley, and he passed away that month, and I wasn't able to meet him, so I was very sad. But and Dory Funk Jr. would be my second favorite wrestler, but Dusty would have been number one. There you go. There's the man right there. I met Pat Patterson before. I actually did. I had a drink with him. Down in Vegas, you get to meet these guys and have a beer. I had a beer with, oh my gosh, Gene Okerlund and Pat Patterson. I had a beer with him, and Pat Patterson made fun of me and teased me. So there you go. I've done it twice with Pat Patterson.
He teased you.
People forget he's Canadian. And when we go down to Vegas, there's a bar, and all the Canadians go there after. So there's about 30 or 40 of us, and he came down just to say hi. And what a highlight! Yeah, so that was fun. Yeah, I like
that's super cool.
Go on there. I get to comment on those. Yeah. But Dusty by far, he got the business. He understood what it was. Is that it's competitive in professional sports like NHL hockey or CFL football. I used to like Jim Corrigan playing football. When he would tackle somebody, he'd do a cartwheel. My favorite hockey player is Eddie the Entertainer Shack. When he got 3 stars, he would skate as hard as he could to the center and then do a pirouette. And he would be in the stands when he was benched by Punch Imlach. We're talking in the 60s. He'd get his stick, and I think most people still remember Eddie Shack though, because he did so many things after hockey. And he would get his stick and stand on the bench and get the crowd to go, "We want Shack." He got it. It's sports, but it's also, you're paying money. You want to be entertained, so
exactly.
It's that balance of entertainment and good athletic ability. So there you go.
Yeah. Well, if you don't have a good show, then you're not going to have fans, and you're not going to go very far.
Yeah, I mean, the old wrestling. I mean, I'm talking even before me, back in dinosaur days. You'd have a guy named Strangler Lewis, who was a very high-profile guy, but he would throw you in a headlock for 20 minutes, and it wasn't very entertaining.
No.
So then it got changed, and they stopped. Hey, look, let's keep her moving a bit. So that developed into the more modern day professional wrestling, where it's a little bit more
less Greco-Roman.
Yeah, I mean, there's nothing wrong with it. I mean, as I said, Dory Funk Jr. is one of my favorite wrestlers. I think he's the best I've ever seen. Ric Flair and him would be my two, and he was very technical, and you could say he's boring, but it legitimately looked like a great contest anytime he was in the ring. So,
well, to each their own. Everyone's allowed to have their own opinions.
That's why I love Josh Alexander, who's almost a regular at 365. At least he was in the pre-COVID days. I know he's with Impact now, but that guy is just one of the most technical wrestlers. And when we talk about my top 5 matches, pretty well 4 or 5 of them are going to be Josh Alexander, to be honest, and a lot of them were with PWA. So.
Yeah, I announced for Josh Alexander and Judas the Born Sinner Icarus, and it was the craziest match I've ever seen live. It was so high intensity, and they were so just at each other.
Yeah.
and it was an insane match to watch live. It was
No,
really great.
yeah. No, he's underrated, and I'm hoping he gets his due as a single wrestler. I love Ethan and him as the North, but I'd love to see him do some stuff on his own, and for that matter, I'd like to see Ethan do stuff on his own too. And I think
Yeah.
you know, get your foot in as the tag team, but let's move on because you guys are excellent entertainers in your own rights. So
Yeah, I was also at a show when he got the contract to go to Impact too. So
that's awesome.
that was cool to see.
Yeah.
That was pretty cool to see.
Yeah,
It was in
I did that.
Mississauga.
Oh, that's very cool. I met him in Mississauga. We were in line for a show called UWA. Was a promotion, sort of an outlaw promotion in Ontario, in that they hired their own people, and a lot of the Hamilton boys were working for them, the Rip Impacts, the Steve Browns, those guys. And but they brought in big stars. And I was in line, and I saw this kid, this skinny little kid, blonde kid, and he said he was training for wrestling, and I couldn't help it, but Mr. Ego here had to say, "Oh, I'm a referee," and so we became friends. His name was Jay back then, and but he was 165 pounds, and now he's probably one of the biggest, toughest wrestlers I've ever seen. And he loves the business with every ounce of his body, and loves and lives it. So,
Yeah.
I got to ref him as a younger guy, and that was kind of cool. I worked for a LLW in Hamilton, which was basically helping the training people down there. So he was more or less an experienced student at that point. So
Okay.
his name was Jay back then, but I won't say it anymore. A different name.
Okay.
I'm old. I know stuff.
That's okay. That's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. I like listening to your stories. So.
Yay! That's one. That's one. Yay!
So I heard that you used to work in AWF back in the older days. So
way back in 2000.
what was that? What was that like?
Well, it was my debut. I think we started out by saying, no one really wants to be a referee. You all want to be a wrestler. And by the time I was 45, I just thought, this is silly. I've got a friend who I used to line up outside of Maple Leaf Gardens with that I haven't talked to in 20 years. But you know what? I'm going to contact him with the interweb and see if there's anything I could do. And I was thinking announcer or manager or something like that. And I was 45 years old. And he says, well, maybe you could replace this girl named Trish Stratus as our commissioner. And I went, well, that would be awesome. That didn't come to fruition. So what happened was he started this thing at the CNE, the Ironman tournament, where he had wrestling every single day, 4 times a day. Talk about a place to learn how to referee. So he called me down and said, do you have running shoes in your car? I said, yep. So I came down there. He's paid the money to get in, paid for parking, and there I am. There's Vijay Singh, and he was in my very first match. You can see the date on there.
Wow. 2002, August 29th. Yeah.
Yeah, and so I did 3 years of that, and that's where I got my debut. And I just was thrown in there against Vijay Singh versus who passed away this year, which was very sad. He was only in his 40s. He was a competitive martial artist up to the end, and a guy named Kazarni from the WWE, Sin, and who's at Cauliflower every year because he lives in Vegas. And it was a 15-minute draw, and that was my debut. And then I went a few more times that year, and more the next year, and more the next year. And that's how I learned how to referee. So in the ring every day.
Wow. Yeah.
3 times a day.
Well,
So
being hands-on, some people learn that way. It's a lot better than just going and doing a school.
I shave my chest up here, if people have noticed. The reason is Sin and VJ and a couple of them, the old veterans, loved to come in because they knew I was old, and they thought, how are you going to break in this 45-year-old rookie? Because I'm not one of the kids. So they would get in close with me and pull the hair on my neck like this, so the fans couldn't see, and it hurt like hell. So,
that would.
Yeah. So I learned quickly the little things that, I'm going to shave here, and I'm going to, I don't. And young guys don't get any ideas. I'm a different referee than I was 21 years ago. I will hit you back. I will get you back. I won't say I hit you back, but I'll get you back. So don't try that one at home, folks. But that was a lot of fun. I mean, I got to work with guys like, with ladies especially, Gail Kim, her first, a lot of her first matches, Tracy Brooks, Beth Phoenix, her first in-ring appearance was with me. And I just finished watching Royal Rumble, and they had the Women's Rumble, which was the best thing on the show. And Jillian Hall was there, the bad singing lady. And I refed a match with Beth Phoenix versus her. So of that era, that would have been a great match. And it's so much fun to referees, especially when they're just starting out. That's one of my most. So I've got either you get the wrestlers, the famous wrestlers on the other side, where they're, they've done the big famous thing and now they're on their downside, maybe the Luke Bushwhacker types. Then you get guys before they were famous, which is really cool too. So Santino Marella, I refereed a lot of his matches under the name Johnny Giovasco, back in the day. And, so, I mean, we knew these guys. That's when I refereed a young rookie, 175-pound guy named Eddie Osborne. It's true. It's true. I have video. I know. So.
Yeah. So, have you kept record of all your matches?
Well, it's funny that you would say that. I actually have it right here. You're like the best person. This is my book. My binder. It has every one of my 2,221 matches. This actual picture here, the orange one there that you can sort of see because my camera is backwards. That was my first appearance for PWA back in Carrot Fest on August 27th, 2005. And Hotshot Johnny Devine was on that show, and just a big thrill. And I did 14 or 15 of those shows. It's still going on. I expect it'll be on next year, and I hope to referee. It's in August, so fingers crossed. You never know. I'm hoping, get that needle in my arm, and I'll be out there. Yeah.
Yes, hopefully it's soon. Everybody's, on their toes and antsy about getting back. So
I think so. Just to walk down the street would be nice. I mean, I see anybody coming down the street, I run to the road because I'm 64 for that. I'm going on a slab if I get, if I get the COVID.
Yeah. Yeah, you got to be careful. Yeah. Be definitely safe and just conscious of what you're doing, I guess. Yeah. So since you have that the binder, if you were to do a wrestling related book, what would you name it?
Oh, I actually forgot about that one. I don't know. Probably Never Too Old. Something
okay.
Something like that.
I like that. I like that one.
My head. That was quick thinking.
That was pretty good. I like that. It's a good book. I'd read it.
Yay. There's one.
You got one person buying your book so far.
I got so much trouble the last time I sold merch. So I from all the old veterans down in Vegas to, although they all wanted my shirt. So I don't know if I'd ever do a book. I've had a few people ask me whether I would want to do a book or not, but I don't think I have. I don't have the real stories that I think would sell a book. If you pick up Ron Hutchison's book, I'm in it. So there you go. You can see pictures of me with hair.
With hair. All right, I'll have to go and find that book. I like going to Indigo. So
yeah, there you go. You can buy it on Chapters. And the name of it escapes me, but yeah.
What is it? Sorry.
I said the name of it escapes me right now, but it's some kind of wrestling name. I don't know, some cool name. It's a great book. Interesting. I have a whole. I mean, I'm in my rec room down here, so you can see my soups. This camera's backwards. There's my Batman shrine, and then I have a few wrestling things. I'll just move it out of the way first. Oops, I don't know what happened there. Oh, there's the name. Pain, Torture, and Agony. If you look in there's a few pictures of me, and just a great guy. You can see some of the big stars that Ronnie trained. Johnny Swinger's there. Gail Kim was amazing. So there you go. And it's a good read, especially if you're from Ontario. It gives you a little history lesson, and you can see some of the famous stars he trained on the cover there. Trish Stratus and Christian, I see, and Gail Kim and Sin, and yeah. So I didn't. I didn't make the cover.
That's okay. You're in the book still.
Yeah.
That's still such an honor to be in it book.
I
So
couldn't be more thrilled. So I mean, I got to admit, I mean, I've got a couple of university degrees. I've taught for 30 years, but some of my better friends, my long-lasting friends, are through wrestling. And I still get, the people I've met through the years, the fans. I talk to a lot of the regular fans, a lot of the PWA fans. I always have time for them, and it may be a hello or a few chats, but I get a lot of, comments from, I won't mention any of the names, but some of the loyal fans there. And yeah, that's what people have to realize that's what it's all about. If you're going to do wrestling, it's a 24-hour job to me. I'm out there to promote, and my friend Bia and I were social media whores, and we try to, get out as much information as we can to promote ourselves, to promote shows. And I think that's important. So
it is. It's very important. It is very important to get out there and promote things. So
yeah, you can't get lazy about it. In Ontario, there's a lot of competition. I find out a lot about Ontario wrestling when I go to Vegas. One of the promoters of a rival promotion told me at one point there was about 45 promotions in Ontario, and that's amazing. When I first started, there might have been 6, if that. And if you worked for, I worked for Ron. I don't think he would mind me saying this. He believed in old school values, so I was not allowed to work for anybody else. So when you talked about AWF, I worked 3 years for them. They're 2000 to 2003, and I was not allowed to work for another promotion. So there was no choice. It made a lot of the wrestlers mad, and I know that's why a couple of them left in anger to a certain extent. But a little controversy there. But that's just an old school value. The values were you were loyal to your promotions, and that's the way it is. So it's nice now, so I can work for anybody I want to now, and they consider me an independent contractor. And I when I come back. If this comes back, I don't think I'll work as hard as I was, because it was every weekend. And I got to admit, the COVID little holiday we're having has shown me that I really do miss staying at home and enjoying my family and my granddaughter. And I probably will not go on the road as much. So, but that doesn't mean I don't want to still do it. But not every single week. And there were times I was, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and living where I do. It's anybody.
Yes, you have a long drive.
Yeah, anywhere from 2 hours is a small drive for me, and 4 or 5 hours is a drive that can't happen. And if I come back again, then I'm in the car 8 hours, and then it's Saturday. Where are we going today? And Sunday, where are we going today? If I do a hotel, there goes my money. So there goes my payout. So we don't make a lot. By the way, if you're thinking of becoming a wrestler, don't do it for the money, because if you don't make it to WWE. And I can list the wrestlers that I've worked with in Ontario on one hand that have made the big time. You do it for the love. You are not going to get rich.
Yes,
especially so.
Well,
Go ahead.
Sorry.
Go ahead.
That's okay. Well, you know what? It shows that they worked extra hard and stuff. And some people, they do it for getting in for the love of it and just having fun and having an extra hobby and stuff. And I think that's why a lot of people are missing it, just because it's something extra to enjoy, to look forward to, right?
Yeah. As a fan, I think it's the most economical entertainment in the world. It's fun, it's unpredictable, and it's like the circus. Hopefully you have a variety of people on your show. You have the big strong men, you have the fast, the lightweights, you have the heavyweights. In my day, it was almost everybody was a heavyweight. 250 was an average wrestler, 230. And now you see a Joey Allen who's around that, and he's, an attraction because he's so big and strong. But he would have been just one of the guys back in the, 2000 was starting to get the lightweights and things in there, but I've been watching since the late 60s, the 1960s. Not 18. And so it was just a different sport back then. It's another reason I didn't get into it, because I was around, most of my life was about 195, 200. Just to even think about wrestling, you had to be in the 220, 230 range. So, it wasn't really an option at that time. So I like to go back and say, oh, I wished I had it. But really there wasn't, back in 1975 or whenever I would have been 18 or 19, it just wasn't an option. So.
Yeah. Well, when you see some of the older guys coming back and they stand like beside the newer guys, it's such a huge difference with the body mass and the height and everything.
And I think you
So
fans can argue this one, but I think you fall in love with the era that you started watching it. So if you started watching Hulk Hogan and everything, that's always going to be your magical time. That my son did that, and so that era is very important to him. For me, I started watching it in the late 60s, early 70s. So the wrestlers I've loved, most people have never heard of, the Sweet Daddy Seekys and these guys, the Tex McKenzie's, that group of wrestlers, people don't even know now, but that's what hooked me. And made me watch every, Saturday. And of course, Saturdays or the weekend, we would have 7 or 8 hours of wrestling on the weekend on TV, and each one of them would be a different promotion from a different part of the country. And we didn't have the internet, so you didn't understand why, Tommy R in Buffalo was Tommy Reisman in Toronto, and was, one was a good guy, one was a bad guy. You started putting things together a little bit, but it was just it's such an exciting time, and that's why I loved it. And then when I went to the shows, and it was like $5 or $10 to get into a show to get great entertainment, and it's not that much more now. 20 years later, 30 years, 40 years later, I mean, you still can get into a show for $15, $20, and talk about 2 hours of great information. And it's the fans too. The fans, I still talk to fans that I met in the lineups back in in the 70s. So. Oh my goodness, that looks like me coming out from my wrestling match.
Yes.
Oh. And a tear in my eye, because it was Mike Hart's idea. He gave us all headbands that said Tor on them, the greatest fan in Ontario. And the late Tor passed away, of course, and he rang the bell for me, and I loved him. There's Sid Summers, referee Derek there, and announcer Gentleman Jeff. And that was pretty exciting. That was probably the most exciting night of my very short wrestling career.
Well, like you said before, you never know in wrestling, right?
Never know. Never say never. Never say never. I didn't think I've quit so many times. I quit after the first 3 years. I quit after 10 years. I quit 15 years. I quit. I'm 66. Who thought I was going to be in the ring now? And I'm closer to 70 than I am 60. And I'm going, well, I can still do it. So
sure you can. Sure you can. I think you're great in the ring. You stay motivated with your Zumba. It'll be all right. You'll be good once we get back to it.
Yeah. Well, I think we'll all have a bit of ring rust for a while, but it'll come back.
Yeah, the timing might be off a little bit with people, but you know what? It's like riding a bike. You'll get the hang of it. So we're nearing the end here, and I know. I'm sorry.
I know, it's so bad. We've only been on for half an hour.
Sorry?
We've only been on for half an hour. I'm thinking at you because maybe might have been some earlier technical difficulties.
Yeah. We won't talk about that.
No, I like my job.
Yeah. So, how can people find you online if they wanted to get a hold of you and talk to you and know more about all of your stories, great stories that you have?
I'm really not sure because I'm old, but I think it's at Eddie Old School. I think you can find me on YouTube. You can probably Old School Eddington James would be my YouTube channel. Instagram at Eddie Old School. Facebook, I'm under my shoot name, which is Jim Connolly, and just looking for a picture. I usually have a wrestling picture up there, so it's CONNOLLY, and that's my other name. And I'm on Twitter, but I don't do anything on Twitter. So if you get on Twitter with me, you won't read anything. I just go on there to listen to the news and stuff like that. I was on Snapchat, but I'm not anymore because I'm not 12. And I don't do TikTok anymore either because I didn't know what the hell to do on that. So I like watching.
It's okay.
I do fall down the rabbit holes about 3 in the morning watching you know, on Instagram, the TikTok reels and things, because I like the shuffle dancing. I'm trying to learn how to shuffle dance a bit. So
Shuffle dance.
Yes.
Shuffle dance.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I watch the reels and Instagram stuff. Come on now, you look it up. It's like Running Man and all that stuff. But it's like the modern version. It's really cool.
Oh yeah. Okay. All right. Yeah, I've seen
Oh,
that.
yeah, I know stuff. I'm not, you know, I know it's not just a pretty face. I got it going on.
You do. You're smart and you're handsome. There you go.
Such a liar.
So,
Checks in the
no.
Should get the check in a few days. That's good. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks. Making the money.
Money, yeah, not in wrestling.
No. But thank you so much for coming on today, and I enjoyed listening to all of your stories. They were amazing.
Well, I'm always available for you, Amanda, and sometimes
thank you.
365. We'll see all of you.
Yes.
Soon.
All the 365 Pro Wrestling Nation thanks you for coming on.
3, 6, 5.